How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And you know what time it is. It is time for the joke of the day. If you're new to this channel, we do this 5 days out of the work week. Maybe you had a long, maybe you had a stressful day, or maybe it was a market conditions. Well, you came to watch this video, plus you hear one of my corny jokes. Here it comes. What kind of exercises do lazy people do? Diddly squats. Diddly squat. But anyways, what we're going to be talking about today is OCGN, which ended up having a green day, but of course it still remains to be very consistent in the range that it's trading in. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, and what are some levels to look out for going into tomorrow. And then afterwards, we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. Are shorts still heavily vested in this play? Are they increasing their positions? We're going to find out. And then we're going to take a look at the order flow distribution. Were institutions even loading up on shares? We can tell by taking a look at the large scale orders, and we're going to figure that out as well. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more key details. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for OCGN. Let's see how it performed on the day. So we ended up closing at $7.61, being up 1.47%. On the low, it tested $7.46, and then on the high, testing $7.63. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 5.972 million shares, with the average volume over 10 trading days being at 16.903 million shares. So we did have well below average volume on the day, but what we could see clearly, we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our 1 year daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, still remaining consistent, being at 52.38, so right in the middle there. And when we take a look at the moving averages on our chart, we continue to have strength above the 200 day. We are below the 100 day, but what is really good to see, we are sitting on top of the 21 day EMA because it's at $7.53 and we closed at $7.61. So as far as going into tomorrow, I want to see this momentum continue. I know what you're saying, Dre, we're only up 11 cents on the day, but when we have a green day like this, we want to see a continuation of this. Now, as far as where we tested on the low for the day, it was around $7.46. No surprise there, because on the previous day it was around 44, and then the day before that it was around 43. So we are still remaining consistent, which is good. Now, as far as where we tested on the high, it was around 763, and if you remember from the day before, I think it was around 65, and then also on the days before that we were testing the 70s, even being as high as just under $8, being around $7.98 and also $7.94. So with all of that said, OCGN is staying very consistent, but we want to see us being able to break through this $7.70 range so we can start making a move going to $7.75 and wanting to test $7.80. So long story short, wanting to come up and reach the 100 day, because that is clearly where we have some resistance here. So let's see what happens going into tomorrow, but at least if it does decide to pull back, I'm going to want to see it hold down to 21 day EMA, or if it decides to hold down or have continuous support right here at this 50 day around $7.37. But I'm hopeful we should be able to stay above $7.40. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for OCGN. So scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 1.3 million, updated 12 minutes ago, and the short borrow fee rate is at 2.23%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 21st, it was at 47.03, and the close for the 22nd, which was yesterday, being at 54.63. So shorts have increased their positions on OCGN, but what this clearly tells us, it continues to have short squeeze potential. So if we end up having that catalyst coming through, then we could see some very strong moves in overall price action. But do know it's going to be coming with a lot of volatility, but for the most part, OCGN has remained consistent, trading in its range. So we just have to wait and see what happens going into October. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for OCGN. So we could see here on the inflow, it was at 8,461. And then on the outflow, it was at 9,001. So we had an outflow day. So we had 0 on the large for both. On the medium, we had 5,477. And then on the small, we had 2,984. When we take a look at the outflow side on the medium, we had 6,292, and then on the small we had 2,709. So when we take a look at the breakdown, we could see for the small we had a lot of retail investors as well as traders who were buying into the stock, but of course there was some profit taking on the other end, but for the most part it was inflows. When we take a look at the medium size orders, that's where it becomes a difference maker. We end up seeing a lot more outflows. Now when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see we have 0 for today. So institutions were not loading up on large scale orders whatsoever. And you know what? I have no problems with this. Many of us have already built out our positions in OCGN already. I know some people have come to the channel saying, hey, I just bought up some shares. That is great to see. But one thing we have to understand, many people are waiting on this WHO approval. So if you are buying right now, of course, there's nothing wrong with that. But as we get closer to that date, I can see the buying pressure actually continue into this stock. We didn't get a lot of it. Like I said, we didn't have a lot of volume overall in general, but I can see that picking up, especially going into next week. So now let's jump into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for OCGN, I want to see it continue to hold down that $7.40 range. It has been a consistent area of support. We tested 746. We also not too long ago tested 743. Like I said, it's just been very consistent at that level, and I want to see a continuation of that going into tomorrow, because I do see the markets wanting to cool off a bit, because we did see a lot of strength on the day. As far as where we tested on the high, you could see we have lower highs that are happening. So I want to see us being able to get back into that $7.70 range. On the day, I think we tested at a high at around $7.64, 63 cents. You can see that inside of the technicals, and I feel this is an area we can easily get past if we have a lot more volume coming through the stock. And like I talked about inside of the technicals, we haven't been getting a lot of volume, but for the most part, at least we know there are many who are holding their shares, because like I said, with low volume, we're not dealing with a lot of selling pressure either. Shows a lot. Now, as far as when we were taking a look at the order flow, one thing we could clearly see, retail investors and traders like you and I have been loading up on their positions. So that is good, but there also is some profit taking that is happening. Also, maybe some selling going on. There are people out there who are going to be uncertain or just wanting to move their money to other investments. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it still continues to have short squeeze potential, and the short volume ratio has gone up from the previous day. So taking that into consideration, this tells us shorts are saying, hey, we are going to double down even further. We think that, hey, as far as that EUL, they're not going to be getting it, so we're going to be able to make money on the downside. So these are one of the risks that we already are aware of, and we know how important it is for covaxin to get that EUL. With that said, this is why I say you want to do your homework and as well as your due diligence, and make sure you have the right risk management in place by limiting your exposure, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of volatility, and I've said for people who are not able to actually stomach that, or if they can't handle that, they shouldn't be in this play in the first place. So I hope you guys found this video helpful, and we'll be talking real soon.